Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag is an excellent example of how a franchise can easily keep itself feeling new with every new iteration. Players take control of Edward Kenway, a pirate who sets sail for the simple goal of making money for his family. As players play through the game, they'll be greeted with some plot insights concerning Edward's relationship with both his family back home and the newly discovered Assassin Order. The story itself is quite good, but what really shines is the character development. Edward is a complex character, one which is trying to do the best for his family, but is caught in the Caribbean due to his newly found life. Several other memorable personalities develop throughout the story, including a first mate who has quite the geek backstory, an emotional Blackbeard, and even the Kraken. Not serious about that last one, but nevertheless, Ubisoft crafts a story with characters which players will care about, unlike some of the previous games where characters are just a means to assassination. The biggest new draw of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag is the widely expanded naval combat and exploration system. Edward takes command of a ship, one which is both armed but also ready to explore the reaches of the ocean. The world Edward finds himself in feels incredibly expansive and encourages a sense of awe. In fact, just by sailing, a number of things could happen. I could find an undiscovered island, which I could dock upon and then proceed to find a chest on, or maybe I'd find a larger landmass, which would be better to explore and hunt on, or perhaps I could look for buried treasure based on a map I found, or I could even go harpooning because I spotted a killer whale. The world of Assassin's Creed 4 is massive, and as a result, players will have a true feeling of exploration when making their way around the world. It's been quite a while since I played a game where I felt such a minuscule part of something bigger, a greater thing which needed to be conquered and was always throwing something new at you. Ship battles take a very large role within Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. In fact, a whole new system is built around this mechanic. Players are able to upgrade their ships, which then allow them to challenge even larger foes. After a sufficient amount of damage is done to a ship, it can then be boarded and taken over. This part of the game places an emphasis on the newly constructed combat system. Instead of simply spamming one button to hit and another one to counter, Black Flag's combat system requires more thought. Larger enemies will first have to be dodged, then kicked, and only after that decapitated. Similarly, smarter enemies will counter your moves unexpectedly. This revamped combat mechanic actually forces people to think instead of killing mindlessly, a welcome change for the franchise. Several features within Black Flag allow friends to play and interact with one another. As a minigame, players can send off ships to trade with others, similar to the assassination contracts in previous Assassin's Creed games. These are done automatically, but often take a lot of time up, sometimes in the excess of 12 hours. A friend online, though, can speed up this process. Every time a friend clicks on your ship, the amount of time the mission takes will be reduced. This feature encourages interaction within the minigame feature in the actual game. The main human-on-human interaction comes from the actual multiplayer mode, though. Several modes are featured, many of which are already from previous iterations. Of course, it's standard Assassin's Creed multiplayer fare, where the player will be given who to assassinate, and they must secretly make their way across the map in order to assassinate their target. There are also some other modes such as Capture the Flag, which is pretty self-explanatory, but nevertheless, the multiplayer is still incredibly fun to play, and still deserves some of your time. Assassin's Creed 4 has so much to come back to after the initial playthrough. Although completing missions perfectly or to 100% synchronization is a valid option, the game also has tons of collectibles to gather. Whether it is finding every last chest, carrying out the final assassination contracts, completing the optional Creed missions, sinking a legendary ship, or finding additional shanties for your crew to sink, there's no doubt that the developers packed in hours upon hours of content for players to enjoy. It's also quite the bonus that the game looks good. I played the game on a PS4, and although it is to be expected that the PS4 version of the game would look great, there's no question that the Wii U version does not look too bad either. I have seen all the versions running in action, and there is absolutely no doubt that the Wii U version looks superior to the PS3 and 360 version. So if there is a choice between the three consoles, then the Wii U version is definitely the way to go. There's no doubt that Ubisoft took criticisms to heart when people said that the previous games in the Assassin's Creed franchise became too alike to one another, and some even called them boring. I'm happy to say that Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag bucks this trend. Combat is cleverly designed, platforming and parkour is fixed, and best of all, Ubisoft gave players a giant world to play in and explore. It is a great bonus that the game looks good and has great community features, but overall, there's no doubt that Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag rises as one of the best games of the year. This game gets a 9 out of 10. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. It really helps, and see you guys next time for another review.